Hey everybody, it's Marty of the JavaScript Party. I'm my buddy Rhett. We are writing some code. I just finished my uh, very rare element or use it or lose it, where I talk about LLMSs and how I think they're sort of causing people to make really stupid decisions when it comes to business. But anyway, now I am talking to you guys about Angular and ThreeJS and detached nodes, and we have gotten completely distracted on these detached nodes. Um, sh Before you kind of like, if you've been following along, um, I would not like in a professional environment unless you're trying to do politics or something. If you're trying to do some sort of political kind of thing, whatever. But like if from a professional perspective, I would not spend a lot of time on detached nodes. I've had a lot of time to think about it, and I think that the most important thing to keep in mind is that in all likelihood, these things will just get resolved. Okay, first of all, it's very, very unlikely that it matters to your whatever thing you're working on. I think it would only matter if you're trying to build a productivity tool that someone is going to work on without doing a lot of saves. So like if it can auto save every minute or so, then that you're good. And is likely to use a lot of memory and and just refreshing every few hours is not an option. If that is your situation, so like let's say you're doing some sort of modeling or something, some kind of deep modeling thing or something. I don't know. I can't even maybe like let's say you're trying to create like a video for music or something like that and you're trying to use your browser and you're trying to work on that, you probably you need to worry about these detached nodes. Otherwise, like just refresh the page. And it is taking a tremendous amount of time to dig through that. So now I was trying to like, should I do it? Should I work on it? Should I just move on or not? And I don't think I want to move on. And one is because I do think I can imagine myself spending hours and hours and hours importing some massive 3D model SVG or something, or one of those things that they make for 3D printing or something like that, and pulling that in or pulling in a big video, like a video or a big something, huge, and then like spending hours and hours on it. And I do not, and not, and, maybe I probably should save regularly, and, but, I don't know. I don't know if it's critical for this project or not, but I do want to play with this because it is a rare opportunity. Um, Normally when you're trying to solve things like this, when you're trying to solve issues, you there's so many layers of abstraction, it's just almost impossible to even wrap your mind around what's happening. And this, we have a very simple way of seeing things. So basically what happens is, like, if I we've been sitting here looking at this for a little while. Let's see, we come over here, we say detached. We do not have any detached elements. And so if I come in here and I add a visualization, we'll add two visualizations, and then I close it back down and I say take a snapshot, and we have no detached elements. I can even change it, and when I change this, basically it's going to destroy both of these DOM elements, and it's going to create two new DOM elements. So we were having like detached elements in that situation before. And we did solve that by actually, I don't know, some of it was by getting rid of routing the router outlet, and then some of it was by the way we create and destroy an array that's driving these things. So if I come over here and I say profiles and I take a snapshot. So we have this one structural styles. I'm not too concerned with it because there's really nothing in it. I don't. I, I would imagine this thing is pretty benign. Um, we could probably literally have a million of these things, and it probably still wouldn't really make a difference. Um, but when I hit delete, it was when I would leave this, I would get a bunch of, but I believe that's fixed now. We should double check that though. So we come over here and we do a profile, take a snapshot. Okay, so we do have a couple more things. This I'm a bit, I don't quite understand why we're having this because we have one matte icon. Oh no, we have two of them. So basically the little delete buttons stayed, and I definitely thought that's what I was going to be working on. But I have a bigger issue, and that's that when I come over here, I'm just going to clear this out. I'm going to take another snapshot. Um, we have those we have format icons now. Oh no, this is an app icon. So for some reason, when we changed views, it decided to create it. One of these got detached. I don't think there's anything we can do about that, except for like quit using matte icons. I don't think the matte icons are very big. Maybe I will move away from matte icons by the end of this effort. But so I'm going to clear that. I, I think the big problem is this. If I hit delete, and then I take a snapshot, I have a whole row that still exists. So basically adding like, and it's big. It's like a big fat one. It's got lots and lots of nodes in it. It's got 23 nodes in it. I got to I'm hoping to figure that one out. Like why? Why when I hit the delete button, whatever that process is creating a um it's creating this. Um, so we're kind of debugging something that I don't really know anything about. So I'm just going to kind of start from scratch and just sort of start working through things. Um, and the first thing I do know that inside of my the way I've architected this thing, I do have a layout section, and that this lives inside of this tabular layout. So basically, something about clicking that button causes all of this stuff to go away. So, I mean, it causes all of these rows to still exist. So let's just reduce the number. The first thing I usually do is I try to reduce the number of moving parts. So I'm basically going to get rid of this button. And fortunately, everything's in Git, so we don't have to worry about losing code. And I'm going to get rid of the see if it has anything to do with the visualization. Um, so yeah, let's just get rid of this visualization like this. Yeah, let's see. Now, I do know that when I've been interacting with ChatGPT about this, okay, so unfortunately, yeah, they don't really want you to import components, and it breaks well, it doesn't really break it, but it like gives you a warning in here if you import it and you don't use it. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And then another thing to keep in mind is it's very possible that this isn't even like a real issue. Like a this isn't an issue that happens with um let's see. Like it may not even happen with an actual deployed application. It may just be a very specific. Okay, so all I have is my delete button. Let's close this up. Maybe that's what caused that other thing. Let's take our snapshot. Okay, so we have a canvas that's detached, which I don't really like that. Um, but that could be just the fact that we deleted the like that could be just a complete red herring. It could be just because there was no place like when in ThreeJS, something else that we're doing. So let's delete this, take a snapshot, and yeah, so we do have our row is still there. So it doesn't, so that, I feel like that's good news. It's good news that it's nothing to do with the actual component itself, the uh, the visualization component. So so what I want to do is I want to not make this a table anymore because it seems like it has problems with tables. I'm not 100% sure on that, but get rid of that. Get rid of this. And we might just have to quit using tables, which, is definitely not the end of the world. But I would say that um, I would feel very like if it is like just an HTML elements thing, like, oh, then it's probably something that'll get itself worked out in the future. Um, 12, let's go ahead and clear that. Let's add one. Let's close that. Let's take our snapshot. What? I think, okay, we don't even have a table. I have no idea where you got. So something was really weird about that. Okay, that is really strange. So now that gives me the impression, oh, you know what? See, and that's going to be confusing too because yeah, it probably has to do with the fact that when I made the code change, it reloaded itself. Um, okay, so we reloaded completely. Take a snapshot. Okay. And then we are going to add one. And then close this up. Profile, take a snapshot. And yeah, I'm not concerned with that at this point. Um, then delete it. And then take a snapshot. Okay, so we still have the div. The div still exists to the browser. Um, so I don't know exactly what to do next. I guess we can get rid of the, we can actually get rid of the div itself, right? And just render a button for each one. And we have learned that it will, even though, um, even though, like if it kept the same, so, and this might have something to do with I know that they did some improvements to the way um, browsers work, so it would, yeah, there's a very good chance that if we actually did deployed this and ran it as a deployed, that this is only exclusively about an in dev issue. It doesn't even happen outside of dev. That is very, very possible. Like outside of development. Take our snapshot, looks good. Add one, delete, take a snapshot, and we have our button. We have a button with 9 detached nodes. So it's definitely something to do with, so let's see what delete does. Delete render right, this delete render, delete visualization for renderer ID. Kind of makes me want to, instead of like maybe I can, okay, so let delete it. Okay, so that returns it. This visualizes. I'm wondering if I should store the renderer ID and if the effect, okay, so, well, one thing that I really was like I didn't I early on I thought it was a good idea to maybe instead of doing something like this where you just overwrite with a whole array, actually just interact with that itself, right? Like so go through the ST renderers and either add or delete records if it finds one that isn't. So yeah, so it seems like what I should do is like um interact with it directly and then I know that it got deleted. So um I could well okay, so I guess I could find everything that is in one array but not in the other array. Right? So that's one thing. We could we could find everything that we could find everything that okay, so I guess we should instead of going down and just starting to just over engineer things, I guess what I should do is um let's just totally cut signals out of this for the moment and instead handle this locally, right? So basically like um this obviously won't work, right? Like as a thing, but it would prove our point. So basically, let's take this and we're going to say, uh, hmm. Okay, so we know we're only deleting once, so we could just for loop over it, right? So we can say this dot render, this dot st renders dot for each, and basically we're going to get a we get multiple things when we do this. And I don't know how, like, I don't know how you can divine this, but as you can see, like, you get a, a value, you get a, you get a reference to the actual renderer, you get the index that you're currently working on, and you get uh, a, a reference to the actual array. Those are the three things you get in here. So, render st render comma, you get the index, comma, and you get the st renders. So that's my understanding is that's what you get a reference to those things. What it does, what Angular does when it transpiles the stuff behind the scenes, there's just no telling. But basically what we want to do is we actually just want to remove the renderer. Okay, so at that index, right? So if I want, so like there's a million ways to do this, but um, we need to know the index. One thing we could do is, okay, so we can say if strender dot strender id is equal to strender id. So dot log, delete this one. So I'm just gonna. There's just so many things to remember. I cannot remember the. I think it's splice or something like that. What is the what is a good way to delete a entry in a JS array if you know the index of the entry that you want to delete. Okay, yeah, so array splice index 1. So basically this is what we want to do, I think. And I don't know. We'll see if we still get a and then st render. See, they give us the render, right? The array slice, and then they gave us the index. So basically, we have the renderer just so we can determine what the right index was and all that. So it's just going to go through each one, and if it matches that, so that should only be one. This is obviously not an ideal way to do this, but it's not ideal in any way, shape, or form. It's not easy to maintain. It's not easy to read. It's nothing. It's just a proof of concept. And we know that we want to manually reload. And we want to hit F12. We want to clear these. And then we want to take a snapshot, make sure there's nothing weird going on. Add viz. Close that. Take a snapshot. Okay. That is weird, but I don't think it's anything to worry about. Delete. Take a snapshot. Okay, so now we still have our button. So even manually, like even deleting it, like splicing it is not getting rid of the is not preventing the detach node. Okay, so I have this code. I'm just going to ask ChatGPT what its thoughts are. And obviously, it does not have thoughts. I feel like it might be important to so what the and the button is detached node. And I think it will realize that I use the splice. And what Angular's internal renderer still is. Okay, so this is okay. So okay, okay. So it's saying do what I did, basically. Okay, so this is what I did. There's a subtle problem. Huh. That's interesting. So it thinks that because I'm still iterating on it, um, so it's telling me to just get the index. Okay, let's try that. That is okay. I'm gonna be thinking about that a lot because it's saying that because I'm still interacting with the array after I deleted it, it's causing. Yeah, that doesn't even make any sense. Okay, what is this? Oh, Actually, let me do this. Before I do that, I want to try. I did not. True. I don't know what that service thing is doing, so let's actually try that without that. Was not as clean as a test as a science as I was hoping for. Now, what did I do? That was weird that I didn't get that. Um, okay, now let's run that. Okay, so that was much cleaner. Okay, so now let's use ChatGPT's solution. Okay, so now this gets the index and then deletes it, as opposed to iterating over it and deleting it while it's iterating, which to me seems like a bizarre reason why it would break, but definitely wouldn't be the weirdest thing I've seen. Yep, it's still there. So I changed it to this. Okay, so I changed it to this. So I think it was full of crap. So I feel like this is I don't know. So renders never reused. If two items share the same render ID at a time, Angular's diffing engine will detach one node, but keep. Whoa. See, this is not true, right? I am using this. Well, okay. That st render ID is unique and stable across all references, never reused, undefined, or changed after creation. Okay, this is weird. If two items share the same rendering ID at the same time, the diffing engine will detach one node but keep the wrong reference. If there are duplicates. Oh, okay. Okay, so, uh, all right. So in all of my, in only create. See, I think that's another BS thing too. I don't know what exactly is going on with with this thing, but I feel like there's it seems my sense is based on how this these responses are coming back from ChatGPT that there's a lot of conversations about this, and that um, yeah, people are kind of just saying crap that trying to trying to confuse things, muddying the water. Um, one uh, one st renderer. subtracts. It keeps a reference. Oh, wait. Okay, so this is bullshit because um, okay. When I test, I am only using one. No, no. The problem always appears. I delete one, always, not sometimes. The behavior makes perfect sense. Okay. When deleting any item. Let's just double check that. But I'm pretty sure even if I add two of them, God, two. Then close this. Okay, do I have any detached nodes at this point? F12. This is so frustrating. Okay, so then I delete the first one because it's saying that, oh, if you delete the last one. Yes. Okay. Okay. Just tried with two items and I deleted the first one. And I still had the issue. Now that is key. Means you sometimes it's something about how Angular's force tracking your item and being updated. So what if I track by index instead? Okay, I skipped over. Okay, so app 4, you're using this. Angular relies on S to match DOM nodes to array items. If detached nodes happen if the render ID is not unique, or the render ID is a primitive number that might repeat or change types. Even if it is unique in your test, the Angler sometimes temporarily attaches a node while it reindexes the array, especially in place mutation, Angler diffing. How to fix reliably. Um, I mean, carefully. Okay, so I want to tell her I don't care about the object, but just keep the DOM nodes in the same order as they're in. Pros simple for small arrays. Okay, so I'll never have more than 16 items. Try to reuse DOM nodes based on the ID or different. Okay, so the max number will be 6. Max. Okay. I don't know why we do this I thing. I cannot freaking believe. I don't even know if any of these things are true. That's what's so frustrating about all this. Okay, so I'm going to say track by index instead. Because it's just like it's saying, oh, okay, I get it. Okay, that's the problem. Okay. All right, let's try that. Let's reload everything because we know how weird things get. F12 to get in there, clear all these. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of. Take snapshot, delete, take a snapshot, and we still have the button. Yeah, so that whole thing is just bullcrap. Okay. I think that it has no idea how to fix it. I don't know. I don't think there's anything we can do at this point. I can't think of anything. Maybe I'll think of something through the night, but I feel like um, I feel like there's just some kind of deep issue in Angular. That's my guess at this point. I feel like I've said things like that before in my career. Like I've probably said something along those lines like 100 times, and of those 100 times, there was a deep issue in Angular, maybe three. So it is very, very unlikely this is a deep issue in Angular, based on my history of blaming Angular for things that end up not being Angular's issue. But I do think that this one, at this point, I believe that this is the issue, and I don't think there's any point to continuing trying to figure it out at this point. I definitely think that that's something that, like, man, like, if we do figure out something, like, this one terrifies me that, like, if I move forward in a year, we'll figure out, oh, okay, this one simple thing would have fixed that issue. And by the way, these detached nodes, we have tons and tons of them. I don't think it is as big of a deal though, because deleting, I mean, you're probably not going to do a lot of deleting, you know, but like navigating back and forth between views is something that we do tend to do a lot of. So, anyways, that's disappointing. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.